super weapons in ancient Greece and that were used in the Battle of Salamis. Remember that the Greeks and the Persians had a lot of conflicts. The first one basically was the Battle of Marathon, where the Athenians won unexpectedly. The second one was Salamis, where the Athenians had their first navy, expecting the Persians to return with the navy, and they did. And again, the ancient Greeks won. Most people know about Leonidas and his 300 Spartans at the Hot Gates, where they were, their task was to delay the Persians. Now, what super weapons were used in ancient Greece? We know that Alexander the Great was supposedly given the lightning rod of Zeus as a super weapon to use in his conquests, and this was supposedly given to him by an Atlantean, an extraterrestrial. Now, a copy of it is in one of the Buddhist monasteries in Nepal, in the Himalayas. He did enter the Himalayas because he was supposed to, that is Alexander the Great, because he was supposed to meet up with extraterrestrials, Atlanteans. He lost a third of his army there. Now, it says here we have the three cataclysms according to the Greek history, that of Deucalion, that is Noah, that of Dardanus, and that of Ogyges. And for more information in the book, we can look up the information on that. The cataclysms mentioned in Greek mythology, for example, which after the discoveries of Troy and Mycenae must be considered history and not fiction, have been proven both historically and by geological artifacts, diggings. Now we know that after every cataclysm, total destruction followed. Huge areas were flooded and civilization was completely destroyed. The remaining people having the knowledge of that civilization look for and find valuable salvaged items such as books, machinery, or weapon systems that are useful to them for their survival. The masses of the population cut off from the source of knowledge within a few decades fall into barbarism. They gradually consider the existence of the previous civilization as a myth and fantasy of the elders, so the knowledge and handling of these technological machines necessarily passes to closed groups of initiates. Over the course of millennia, these groups, in order to protect their secrets and to prevent these machines from falling into the wrong hands, necessarily chose to be protected behind religious priesthoods. These descriptions, how civilizations evolve, are from Plato's own references, but they are confirmed by existence of elitist initiatory groups in ancient Greece, Caveria, Eleusina, Delphi, Dodoni, and in addition they exist respectively in India, China, Japan, Central America. And for more information, one can read the books The Chronicle of Akakor, where it's described how the initiates protect the ancient antediluvian weapon systems in Latin America. It's also confirmed by the study of the history of the Abbot of Zion. Now, over 4 centuries now, these elitist orders of Europe have gone out of control of the Europeans and come under the control of the Zionist bankers, whose agents continue to this day to have underground caves, as it was recently revealed that military men from European countries have been searching underground for months, caves in Bolivia, pretending to be speleologists until they were kicked out by the country's government. There are thousands of reports of disappearances of such archaeological finds. So these findings were placed inside the temples in some sort of a place where it was people were not allowed to enter, and no one could see or touch them except the initiates, who also learned how to handle them. So we see the heads of the initiates had hereditary rights. They were used in case of need, such as in cases where the nation was in danger. We have relevant information from Plutarch, Pausanias, Herodotus, Thucydides, and it is not possible that all of them could have conspired to tell lies, the same lies, as they are 200, 300 years apart in time. Let's mention some cases that you'll find. In the naval battle of Salamis, that's a little island just off the coast of Piraeus, the port of Athens. The priests of Eleusis insisted that the naval battle take place. They advised that the naval battle take place at the point and set Nisiphilos as an envoy to have the naval battle take place opposite the Triasian field. There's a description in Plutarch in the parallel lives in Themistocles. He was an admiral of the Greek Navy there, where it's stated that when the naval battle began, a flash appeared from Eleusis, a great light, then a great sound which was heard all the way to the sea. A cloud appeared which gradually rose from the earth and fell upon the triremes. The triremes were the Greek ships. They had rowers, 3 rows of rowers. Flash, sound, smoke. Something falls on the triremes. If it was a rocket, how would the technologically primitive Athenians describe it? We have all seen military rockets that gradually rise from the earth. It's certain that this is a machine and is reminiscent of today's missile systems. Don't wait for confirmation of findings. The Smithsonian Institute has been repeatedly accused by former employees of missing artifacts. Entire ships have been sunk in the Atlantic with such finds. Herodotus, in the 8th chapter of his history, describes that an Athenian exile, Dicaeus, together with the Spartan exile Demaratus, was in the Thracian field at that time, and when Demaratus, seeing the cloud, asked what it was, Dicaeus, who was initiated, told him that if this goes on the ships, it will destroy them. Demaratus told him to shut up because if Xerxes finds out, he will kill them. Xerxes was the king of the Persians, as we know. Now, Herodotus' history, Urania 45. Athens' right of Theoudi functioned and defended in the New Sea destruction when the destruction of Attica from the internation of Xerxes have been to be together with the Lacedaemonian Demaratus, that is, the Demaratus was from Sparta, in the throne field, Thriasian field, and saw a Crum, thousands of people, while he and the council were surprised. Who would have raised this dust? Suddenly, he said, we heard a voice, and I recognized that the voice was a mysterious sound, that is, a hymn sung to the god Bacchus. Demiratus Dais in the Eleusinian mysteries wanted to know what they were saying, and I answered Demirate, it is impossible that some great damage should not happen to the king's army, so that no doubt remains how, since Attica is deserted, what we hear is something divine and comes from Eleusina for their passage and compassion. If Kourniachtos goes against the Peloponnese, the danger will become his king in the land army. If he goes against the fleet at Salamina, the king will be in risk of losing his navy. Every year, the Athenians hold a festival in honor of the mother and daughter of Demeter and Persephone, and there anyone who wants to is initiated by them and by other Greeks. The voice you hear is a secret voice, which is used at the festival and is called Iakos. After that, Demaratus repeated, keep quiet and don't tell anyone else, because if these things reach the king's ears, you will lose your head, and neither I nor anyone else will be able to save you. So sit wisely, and as for the things, let God take care of the army for him. In other words, he told him, keep quiet, keep your mouth shut. Pausanias in Attica mentions that at the same time, a flying machine was presented which sunk the ships. Quote, and the Athenians fighting against the Persians, the Medes, a dragon in the navy is said to appear. End quote. When the people of the time saw something like this in the sky, they called it a dragon, according to their own knowledge. So it was some kind of a craft, a flying machine. When they later asked the oracle what they saw, they got the answer that it was Cicreus, the first king of Salamis. We have similar depictions in the Battle of Marathon. Someone in a strange costume appeared holding a plow handle, Hetli, and killing Persians. After the battle, he disappeared, and when the inhabitants asked the Oracle of Delphi about him, they got the answer to honor Echetlaus. When the Persians marched against the Oracle of Delphi, the priests reassured the inhabitants that the god could protect his people. So according to Herodotus' description, sacred weapons, quote unquote, were set up in front of the temple that came out of the temple and which could not be seen by man, which automatically appeared outside the temple items and threw lightning bolts at the barbarians. At the same time, there was thunder. Herodotus calls them trea major, that is huge beasts, meaning in free translation, supernatural, terrible, big monsters. Many years later, in 279 BC, the Gauls, with the Brenian leader, march against the Oracle of Delphi. The then priests reassured the inhabitants that the god will save himself, that is, he will protect his temple. Before the gods even attacked, lightning struck and killed them. At night, some gas made the Gauls not understand who their neighbors were or their language, and they killed each other. Then Vrenos also committed suicide. Pausanias in Boeotia, that's where Delphi is, mentions that after the battle of Chaeronea, unruly Greeks from Philip's army, Philip the father of Alexander the Great, went to capture the sanctuary of Delphi, and they were destroyed in the same way by lightning and lightning that came from the sky. Let's also remember the reports about Talos, the robot that protected Crete. Talos, a strange humanoid robot that guarded the island of Crete in ancient Greece and constantly made its rounds. And when was it neutralized? When Jason the Argonaut managed to hit it with a crucial point to lose what we call today his lubrications. The ancients referred to these liquids as ihor. This robot distinguished the intruder from the resident. That is, we're talking about a robot with artificial intelligence and equipped with the appropriate weapon system to repel intruders. So what can one say about the ships of the Phoenicians in Homer? Ships that took you to your destination as long as you told them the continent, the country, and the city in that order. Continent, country, city. It was moving in a cloud without a crew or a rudder. Why does Homer emphasize this, that they were moving in a cloud? Homer's Odyssey, Rhapsody 555 to 563, and again, reveal your country, people, and city, so that the ships will travel there with their own calculations. Because we Phaeacians have too many captains, we don't even need rudders, as is the case with other ships. Our ships alone know what they count and what the people who travel think. In other words, the ships were able to read the thoughts of the passengers. This is the same type of ship that the Argo of the Argonauts had, and the Argo told the Argonauts, of course, were not just plain sailors; they were all elite princes and princesses, princes of kingdoms of ancient Greece, and the ship told some of these elite princes to tell Hercules to get off the ship because the computer of the ship could not stand reading the thoughts of Hercules. Now, going back to this, so this ship was able to read people's thoughts and function that way. So our ships alone, he said, know what they count and what people who travel think. They know cities and fields well, and so they swiftly crossed the wild wave of the sea in the fog, covered with clouds, and they were never in danger of being damaged or sinking. In other words, the ship was flying under the cover of a cloud, as if it was a cloud. Does anyone doubt that the initiates possess antediluvian technology? The only realistic question is, who are they in the 21st century now? Who owns this technology and keeps the vast majority of humanity in the dark? Is it a conspiracy or exaggeration to assume that they are keeping this knowledge to rule over us and our children? And this is from Eleftheri Epistemi blogspot, and I've translated it for you from a Greek article. It could be that these things, as some archaeologists are telling us, could be leftover technologies from Atlanteans that are still among us around the earth. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.